Hi everybody, today's Tuesday, May 5th, and this is the lesson for math. We're going to continue our lesson on working on how to make a graph. The materials you will need for today's lesson are your workbook pages 709 through 710, a pencil, crayons, and your bag of colored shapes. Make sure that you have all those materials. Once you do, you're ready to begin. Remember, you can pause the video to get your stuff together and then go ahead and press play once you're ready. I'll see you once you're ready to begin. Here we are on page 709, and we're going to continue to do the same lesson that we were doing yesterday. We're going to make a concrete graph. Okay, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is grab your bag of shapes, and you're going to need to pull out 11 circles and triangles. Okay, they can be mixed circles and triangles, doesn't need to be 11 of each. You see what I have here? I have 11 shapes all together. That's why I put the number 11 right here so you could see 11 shapes. I have 11 all together circles and triangles. Once you get your 11 shapes taken out, I want you to sort them into two groups, or I should say classify them into two groups on this part of your paper. A line down the middle. You're going to have one group on this side and one group on that side. So go ahead and get that taken care of, and then we'll get finished up with the rest. Once you've classified or sorted all your shapes, your paper should look a little bit like mine, where you've got all of your triangles in one side and all of your circles in another side. So now we have everything classified by shape, okay, circles and triangles. Now, what's our next step? After we have our circles and triangles sorted, our next step is to move it down into the graph. Okay, so you can either move your shapes down into the graph, or you can go ahead and draw them into your graph for right now. Okay, so for every circle that's in the box, you're going to draw one in the graph. Okay, so go ahead and get working on that. And while I get my completed, you get yours done. If you need to, press pause, and then let's see how it looks when we're done. All right, so we've done the classifying. We've already sorted our shapes into two different sections, or two different groups, into circles and triangles. We did that up in the top in number 1 up here. Right? And then in number 2, we moved all of our objects into the graph according to circles on the top row and triangles on the bottom. And your graph should look a little bit like mine, depending on the amount of triangles or the amount of circles that you pulled out when you took out your 11 shapes. Okay, so make sure before we move on to number 3 that you have drawn or colored in how many green circles you have. So for me, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I will draw in those 5 green circles, one for each box. Now triangles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 triangles. So I will make sure that I draw a green triangle in every box to represent those triangles. Okay, when you're done, then we come to number 3, and they're asking us to count how many circles there are. Well, we go back up into our graph and we count the number of circles, and we said there was 5. All right, and then they want to know how many triangles, and we said that there were 6 triangles. All right, So make sure that you count yours. If yours is the same as mine, then that's okay. Then you can have the same numbers. But if your numbers don't match what's colored up here in your graph, then it's not going to be correct. So make sure that whatever it says in your graph, that your numbers match down on the bottom for number 3. All right, once you're finished, go ahead to the next page. Also, be sure that you have written your name at the top of the page where it says name. All right, we'll see you on the next page. You should be looking at the back side of your paper now, page 710. And in this activity, or this side, we're going to be using our red and blue squares. So that's what you're going to need for this one. We're done with the orange, the green circles and triangles. We're going to be using red and blue squares. So make sure that you have those ready, and you will be needing 9 of those. 9 of them. It doesn't matter, just like the circles and the triangles, just pick them out, count out 9 of them, make sure that you have 9. It doesn't matter what color, what numbers of each you get, as long as you have 9 all together. Once you're done and you picked out your 9, go ahead and start classifying them up into the sorting or classifying area up here at the top on your paper. Sort them into 2 groups. What do you think we're going to sort them into this time? Is it shape? No, they're all the same shape. What's different about them? That's right, color is different about them. So we're going to sort them by color, or classify them by color, by red and by blue. So go ahead, get your 9 shapes and get them classified into 2 groups, and then we will start doing our graph. I'll meet you on the next page. If you notice, I've moved my group of shapes that I pulled out of the bag over into my classifying or sorting area up here at the top of the paper. And I have classified my cubes, or my squares, into 2 different groups. And those groups are red cubes and blue cubes. All right, you should have done the same. Yours might look close to mine. It depends on how many blue and how many red that you got from the bag, as long as it was 9, because that's all you're supposed to have. But remember, we can add different numbers to make up 9, so you can have a different amount than I do, a different amount of red or a different amount of blue. All right, so from here, what is our next step? Once we've sorted or classified into groups, our next step is to move our objects, or to color them, into our graph. That's right. So it's your choice if you want to just go ahead and start coloring in the graph for now, or if you want to move the shapes down and then color them. It's up to you. All right. I like to draw a shape, and then either you can take one away. I can't take it away on my paper right now, but you can take it away, or you can put an X on it every time you've done one from the top down on the bottom every time you've done it, so that way you don't forget what you've done. Or you can count 1, 2, 3, 4 red squares, and you know you have to do 4 red squares, and you can just count 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so go ahead and I'll work on mine. You work on doing your red and blue squares in your frame. I'll do mine, and I will meet you back here in just a second, and we will look at it together. Remember, boys and girls, we're still on the same page. It's page 710. I just have to keep moving so that I can show you a different picture. And we are looking now at number 2, because I have moved all of my shapes from my classifying area at number 1 into my graph in number 2. And all of my red shapes are in the top row, and all of my blue cubes are in the bottom row. Now our next step is to count how many in each group, right? All right, so first they want to know how many what? Red ones. 1, 2, 3, and 4 red ones. Okay, we have 4, whoops, slip there. We have 4 red ones. And how many blue ones? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blue ones. 5 blue ones. All right, so that's my graph. Remember, you have to make sure that you count how many yours are. Make sure that you've also colored in all of your areas up here to make sure that for every space you have colored in an area, that you've colored in 1 square in each of the boxes up here for everyone that you put in, but you should have no more than 9. Remember, 4 plus 5 equals 9, no more than 9. All right, once you're finished, that's all the math for today, and I will see you tomorrow. You have a great afternoon, guys.